What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Northern Valley, where we are finally starting our little tourism island. Now, I say tourism island because the original plan was to put basically just hotels all over this island and have nightlife type buildings, but the more I've built around this area, the more I realized how much room we actually have down here. So we're gonna be able to basically make this into an extension of our city. So we'll see how this all takes shape once we start to really go in and build this island out and finish it. Now, this episode is only going to be the tip of the island. And you saw, actually, we took the terrain tool and we sliced off some of the land from the island, and that was to create a nice little point. Well, point probably isn't the best word there, but we're trying to create some space down here to create some lakefront, or would this be bayfront? Anyway, either way, waterfront property down here. So the building that we just placed in now is a ferry depot. It's going to be able to power our ferry network that we're eventually going to be setting up. I have it roughly sketched out with just 2 stops. Of course, we had the stop back from the last project that we did, which was the harbor area. And then we just had another stop because I wanted to see how the ferries worked in this game. So we just slapped another stop on the back of the island, and we're going to be detailing that more when we build out over there. But this episode is just going to be this very small area. Now, I think moving forward in this series, we're going to try to take more bite-sized chunks and turn those into episodes. Hopefully that can up the frequency of episodes that I put out, because I feel like sometimes I just have these massively ambitious projects and they take so long to make and edit down that it's weeks in between episodes, and I know you guys do not like that, and I apologize for that. But I think moving forward, we're gonna try to be more I don't know what the right word is, but I'm gonna try to not go over the top in these projects. So this episode, you've basically seen most of the buildings that we're going to be putting down in this episode. So these 3 buildings that we're clumping together here are going to be what we're calling a hotel with like a conference room, and it's right on the water, so it's kind of a destination type hotel. And I think it comes out pretty good, and the people in the chat in the live stream seem to really like the idea over here as well. So this is really awesome. But yes, I think moving forward in this series, at least for this island, I'm gonna try to basically separate it out into small chunks, and we're gonna go pretty hard into like detailing those areas. So this episode, I don't think is gonna be much shorter than what you guys are probably used to, but we are going pretty hard into detailing around what we're placing down. So you're seeing the key walls go down, and this was a huge must for this waterfront property. Again, the water in this game, if you've played this game and have worked with the terrain around water, you'll know that it takes forever to settle down, and it floods every now and then. So I don't know if this is the right height. I really love in this game bringing buildings down to water level. Now, the problem is that water fluctuation, and it will flood every now and then. And it's something that I don't think we can fix. I think it's something we can deal with. You're seeing it right now, actually. And yeah, it for the most part, it's good. Every now and then we get a little bit of a tidal wave from the river. I guess we can deal with it. The hotel will have to put in some precautions for that or whatever. And yes, I think we're okay. I love how low to the water it is. It is way more realistic when you're pretty much right on the water, and instead of going up way high. Now, what you're seeing right now are these little tetrapods that we've placed down there, and that's supposed to help with erosion. Now, I had a couple people really helping me out in the chat of the live stream for this episode, just because I really don't know all that much about like nautical life. So I really had to go in and ask for advice as to whether or not I was putting all these break walls up correctly and all that stuff. So mostly I was doing it right, and I don't know, you guys in the chat were pretty much coaching me through it, which was awesome to see. But as you're seeing right now, we are actually taking the entire terrain of the island down a little bit. It was kind of high up, and I felt like leveling the whole thing out really, I guess, is going to be better in the long run as we go through and build the rest of this out. So we still have a lot of terrain work to do, and we have a lot of work to try to get all of this squared away. But you're seeing the tetrapods once again on the screen, and they were so high up that the chat was freaking out, and everyone was basically saying, don't overdo them, and just put them in, like, these are supposed to really go in where the erosion would be the most, the strongest. So we really didn't want to overdo it too much, and I think we really have a good mix where we stand at the end of this. But yeah, the road system on this island is going to be very crucial to letting everything flow nicely. Now we have a big, I guess I want to say crosswind, but it's not. It's like a crosswind traffic pattern coming from the harbor into the main city. We're going to see a ton of cars coming from that side of the island and going over to the city of Lockwood. Now, this is going to cause a bit of an issue because we have a highway system that's going to terminate on the island, and we're going to have to go through and figure all that out later. But I guess we're going to do that as we build this out. I think the next episode is going to be basically the stadium district. We were looking at stadiums, and if you ever catch a glimpse in this time lapse of like random buildings that I had on the back of this island, it was because I was trying to place them to try to get a gauge of what I wanted to put on this waterfront, as well as I placed some of the stadiums down just to get a gauge of the size of them, because we had to plan a little bit ahead in this episode, and I'll talk a lot about this when we go into the live portion. But yes, there was a lot of planning involved, even though there probably isn't much sketched out. Really, it was just getting myself an idea of what we're going to do moving forward here, and I think we're in a good spot, but I guess we'll see as we kind of develop the rest of this island out. But you're seeing just a lot of detail work being thrown in. Now, parking was something down here that I wanted to address, but I didn't want to go overboard. I've had a few comments from you guys saying there's too much parking, way too much parking in the city, but that's kind of been, I guess, something I really wanted to emphasize in the city. I wanted to not have like a clustered city so much. I wanted it to be a little bit more open, lots of parking options, and I really wanted to incorporate a lot of the nature work that we have been doing into the city itself. So I think we've accomplished that for the most part. But I didn't want to just throw a bunch of parking down in this area. So we've, I think, tastefully put some parking lots here and there. We have a few of the hotels that have grown. You see some growables there. We have a few of them grown in. We are seeing some people actually drive down here. And it was kind of funny because for the longest time we had these buildings were all complaining about not being able to get trash services. So you're actually watching me place a road, I think, maybe not, but we connect a road up just arbitrarily for now, just to get some traffic down to here. Yes, there we go. But it's gonna be a very popular area, I feel, I hope at least. So we're gonna see a lot of this in action as we build out the rest of the series, as I've been talking about. But this detailing that we're doing near the waterfront is something that I figured we should spend a lot of time on, just because this is such a premier spot. This is one of those things that you're going to see as soon as you look from the bay onto the island. You're going to see basically downtown Lockwood with all its glorious buildings. And then you're going to look to the left of it and you're going to see this little waterfront island property. And I guess that's one thing I should talk about. I really don't want to have like a bunch of skyscrapers on this island per se, but we don't have to be restricted to a bunch of low-level buildings. Now, somewhere in the mid-range is probably going to be where we end up here. We're going to probably have some high-rise type apartments near the back of the island, which is going to look good because it's so far back that you're not even going to notice it from the bay. I guess. I don't know. I'm thinking that this is going to work. We're probably going to change the plan like 20 times by the end of the build, but we should, I guess, I'm trying to keep basically a good separation between downtown Lockwood and what this is, which is basically just a little extension of downtown. So again, we're going to see where that goes and where that takes us as we move forward, but we're trying to just detail out some nature work here. Now, this around this little hotel, I don't know, I guess we should probably come up with a name for not only this island, but we should have a name for this hotel. But it's kind of like a marquee hotel, so This area was going to be basically developed in full. There's going to be a lot of concrete around it. So I wanted to incorporate some nature down here. So you're seeing those like little flower beds that we have. I'm trying to incorporate nature. And when you do that in like a very developed area, you want to have some of those planters down there just to, you know, you need dirt for these trees to grow out of. So those planters accomplish that. They wouldn't just be growing through the cement itself. So yes, these planters definitely add a really nice touch. Now they can get kind of annoying. You have to move it with the Move It mod up and down so it's not covered up by the cement. But in the end, it looks great. And if you're struggling to, I guess, make nature look good in a city, just remember that it would have to grow out of something. So a lot of times you'll see even a small little ring around the base of it with dirt and mulch in it. And yeah, anyway, moving on to the rocks, because you know how much I love rocks in this game. We tried to incorporate a little bit of rock down here. The rocks on the edge of the island are something that we're gonna have to discuss as we move forward, but the purpose of these rocks in particular was because where those key walls are coming together, the terrain was doing some really weird stuff, and I couldn't get it to go up or down. So to cover that up, we've put a couple little rock structures with some trees coming off of them. And yes, I really love how we've integrated just a little bit of nature in this area down here. And it's really, I think, you guys can let me know, I think it's a really nice little detailed area. Now, of course, as we go into the live portion, we'll check this out in further detail and we'll discuss more of what we want to do moving forward, but we're just finishing up this time lapse with some rock and tree action, and I really don't know if there's much else to talk about. So guys, I will see you over in the live portion. All right, we are live back in Northern Valley, where you guys just watched the point of the island being created. Yes, this episode was basically to start off this whole project, and it was really just a way to lay out how the next few episodes are gonna go here. So like I mentioned, I kind of want to break this island into smaller chunks, that's a better word, smaller chunks per video here. So we worked on the tip of the island here. The next episode is going to be probably this, which is going to be our stadium district, which I am super excited for, and I will be working on that on stream. If you're watching this video on the day or two after it came out, I will be live streaming the next portion of the Northern Valley series, and we will be building for the time lapse. So if you want to join me, the link, as always, will be in the description down below, so you guys can go and follow me over on Twitch and check out and influence actually the series. I actually love being able to interact with you guys in chat. A lot of people were helping me out with these tetrapods in this episode. So yeah, you guys are actually making the series a little bit better even yet. So I love it. And I hope to see a lot more of you guys over there on Twitch for the upcoming builds. But yes, moving on to what we actually placed down in this district during the time lapse, we have this really awesome building. This is actually a ferry depot. I love the way this building looked, and I thought it would be a really awesome building to have as basically the first thing you see when you look over at this island. So that was really awesome. I love this little seawall that we've created here. It's got like a really awesome little pocket, and even though the water doesn't obey the walls, it's still a really cool touch here. Now, moving behind that, we have these growables here. These are hotels, like I mentioned earlier. These are going to be changing here and there as the new buildings grow in. And of course, the marquee hotel that we've placed down here is this one here. We have 3 buildings merged together, and I absolutely love this building. I'm not sure what this building is called or where it is placed in the real world. I'm sure it's modeled off of something, but the thing that I really love about it is the top. It's got this little dome up here, and I am pretending that this is a really awesome rooftop restaurant. So this actually may be a restaurant in this building. I'm not really sure. I didn't research it, but I'm sure somebody can let me know. But it is such an awesome little thing, and it's right over the bay, and you can watch all of the boats come in and out. Now, moving forward, we're gonna have to expand and blend in all of this stuff. I've put nature work sporadically throughout this area. I kind of want to integrate nature around this island, but I don't want to go too heavy into it moving forward. So that's something we're going to have to very carefully work out as we move forward here. I guess I kind of mentioned this a little bit, but I want to expand upon the island, which still doesn't have a name, by the way. I would love for you guys to throw out some suggestions for this island down in the comments, but the island I am going to chunk apart a little bit. We're gonna have a few districts going on here. So the district that we have built on in this episode is actually a tourism district. This district is probably going to expand out to about here. I'm just kind of sketching this out. This is all subject to change as is usual, but this is going to be where the hotels are built and all of the tourism type buildings and commercial buildings. The stadium district is going to be a leisure type district, so we should see a lot of local and natives coming down to check out the stadiums, and we're probably going to zone some commercial in there, so hopefully we'll get some awesome like sports bars and that kind of stuff. Then moving back to here, we'll probably have more of just a regular old commercial district. So this is going to probably end up being more of the city. It's just going to be a really big suburb, and I really like that as an extension of the downtown. Now, the infrastructure on this island is going to be a little challenging. As you can see, we have basically 4 road segments coming into the island. We're also going to have the ferry that you see kind of meandering about, and also I think the plan someone mentioned in the chat in one of the live streams to put a monorail connection. I really think that's going to be kind of cool. And of course we have a subway connection. So the island itself is going to be really well connected, but the road traffic is going to be something that is going to be a bit of a challenge. We have so many cars coming from the port, and to get downtown, we're going to see a lot of people using these bridges. Now we have to kind of figure out a creative and efficient way to get all of the traffic sorted out into whichever direction they need to go. Now the road we have in here right now is just a placeholder at this point. That is subject to change, but we had a bunch of these buildings complaining that they weren't getting street connections and like garbage and all that stuff, so we did have to connect it up, but that is subject to change. Like I said, we're going to be working and expanding this as we go. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, and I'm hoping you guys can help me out in the chat, in the live stream. So yeah, I think that's just about going to do it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. If you disliked it, thumbs down, of course. And I really hope you guys can join me for some of the live streams moving forward here. As I said, the link is in the description. And until next time, I will see you back here in Northern Valley.